to the show where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, it's part of the show. Didn't they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars? Vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged, caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires. No answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours. Imposter truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of gish galloping wars. No remedy can't save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards, poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dupe is delight in a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love I'm just too hard, I'm just too hard. I said, welcome to the show where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know. Intoxicated 8 makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state I used to contemplate, how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was even made with a dreadful fate, forced to try and awake with a full plate. No one to help me stay awake or educate. I've had to liberate and fight through hidden gates. But my brother, heaven could never be late, and rockets don't work in space. It's all fake, the show is on Mars. It's a joke, but you're too far gone, it won't be long. Fepe's beak is strong. We have our song and we march along like streams of knowledge leading to God's holy pond, and lives of truth that hits the bong and sings the song, turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown and all of us wearing our holy crowns. So the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along, just to go along. I said, welcome to the show where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know.
All right, and now the pièce de résistance. What is something about Max Igan that no one else knows?
Welcome back to another exciting adventure of Red Hen Radio. I'm your host, Travis Finley. You would not believe how many takes these introductions take sometimes. This is like take 12. Tongue gets tied. I forget to say something. I say something that I didn't want to say. This is like take 50. Take 50. Welcome to Red Hen Radio. All right, this is the conclusion to our interview with. See how that happened right there? I was trying to figure out what to say. This is the conclusion to our interview with Max Igan. I hope that you enjoyed. It's very short and sweet, so I could have made this all one episode, but that's not the way I roll. I'll leave you with that little cliffhanger of that nugget of information that I try to squeeze out of our guests, something that no one else knows. So you're going to have to listen for that in this episode. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification to be kept up to date, and share this with others, as well as giving us that Rogan up. All right, so here we go.
Well, they do that with everything, you see. They turn tobacco into a poison. They did it with cacao. Look what they did to chocolate. Brought that to the West and look, to turn that into a poison. It's a superfood, you know. Look what they did to that one. So they do it with everything.
Yeah.
All right, so just some quick questions I'll throw at you. What do you know?
What do I know? I know myself. Well, I'm learning myself. That's the only thing I'm an authority on, is myself. But knowing it, well, I'm still figuring it out along the way. You know, I know who and what I am, and that's a beautiful thing. And the rest I'm finding out along the way. I know the world's run by criminals. I can prove that. Exhibit A, the Earth. But about that, apart from that, it's me. That's the only thing I consider myself an authority on, is me.
And what do you believe?
Belief is the enemy of knowledge. If you believe something, if you know something, you don't need to believe it. You don't need to try to believe it. It's a knowing, it's not a belief. It's a hard thing. I mean, I just don't do belief. I'm still finding out. I'm open to suggestion. I'm open to consider all options with everything. Everything. I can't think anything else, anything that is not beyond the realms of possibility, because we're only limited by our imagination and by what we believe is possible based on the information we've had access to, you know, by our opinion of science or our opinion of religion or whatever we think these parameters are. But I think that limits our consciousness, it limits the expansion of our consciousness, and it limits our potential. So I don't do belief. Belief is the enemy of knowledge, and that which I know, I don't need to believe. So I know I need to breathe, I know I need to sleep, I know certain things. I mean, I know that ice is cold. I mean, you know, sorts of, you know, average everyday things, but ultimately if we're talking about life and spirituality, all I truly know is myself. And yeah, like I said, I'm even with that, I'm still finding out about myself, you know, and I don't believe myself to be any particular thing. I don't believe my path to be going in any certain direction. I don't believe this experience to be about any particular thing. I don't believe there's a heaven or there's a hell or anything. I'll find out when I leave this realm what there is, and I'm completely open to whatever is going to present itself to me. So yeah, I just don't do belief, brother. It's never really worked in my life. It's always limited my potential, and I think that is the purpose of beliefs. I think that's why so many people try to convince so many others of certain things. It's to mould the direction that they're moving in and to lead them away from themselves. This is a wondrous world, and we are incredibly wondrous beings, and our potential is only measured by our beliefs. So yeah, I just don't do belief, brother.
So you mentioned earlier dog Latin. Does etymology matter?
Etymology, it's interesting. I mean, it's important if you want to understand the words that you're talking, like understand, you know, stand under. People say, have a nice day. Where does the word nice come from? The word nice means stupid, uninformed, means ignorant. Someone who's nice is someone who simply doesn't rock the boat because they're stupid, uninformed, and ignorant. But have a nice day. Be a nice person. But we think it means congenial. So, yeah, it's important. The words that you're talking. Know the language that you're speaking, when you're in particular situations and how different words apply to those situations,
So, again, I guess to say, for instance, a person who isn't aware of the etymology of the word nice, but their use of it, doesn't the use dictate the meaning?
To a degree, but we don't know the words we're saying. I mean, it does to a degree if you're just speaking surface English. Okay, you're saying, have a nice day, you want me to have a good day. I understand that, and that's fine, But if you're in a legal situation, how does the word apply? If the cops say, be nice, what are they saying to you? Are they telling you to be kind and be gentle, or are they telling you to be stupid, ignorant, and uninformed and don't rock the boat? Because you've got to understand the words, how they work. Like I said, understand. They're different to comprehend. Do I comprehend? Do I understand? Do you stand under what I said? When you're using words in a legal context, you've got to know what they mean. Because that's the thing with English, is you've got English and you've got legalese, which runs parallel to English, and it is the below surface meanings of English, if you will. And when you're in a legal situation, then that's the application of your words. Every word you say to a police officer is determined by its legalese meaning. So if you don't know the words that you're speaking, you don't know what you're really saying, when you're talking to these people,
Can I interject?
That's the thing.
Can I interject real quick? I just want to interject real quick. So the typical person, I usually refer to them as Granny Smith and Grandpa Joe, just the average people. They don't think that there's a transition from the conversation they had with their next door neighbor and the conversation they have with the policeman. They don't understand, right? I'm even using the word understand. If you were to say to someone, the word understand means that you stand under my authority, they would look at you and think, what language are you talking? That's not the way we use it. I mean, I totally hear what you're saying, but I've been trying to think through this whole thing about the system that we're in, because the way that you're speaking... Go ahead.
Well, a good one is the word fixture, to explain it to people. The word fixture, what does the word fixture mean? If you're talking to a carpenter, a fixture is like a door frame or a window frame, or a door latch or something like that. If you're talking to a plumber, a fixture is a tap fitting. If you're talking to a judge or a lawyer, a fixture is a court date. Okay, so who are you having the conversation with? What does the word mean? The word means a different thing depending on the person you're having the conversation with. And it's the same with the word understand. It's the same with the word nice. It's the same with all words. If you're speaking to a police officer, then there are legal meanings being applied to your words, and these are not the same as the surface meanings. It's the same as if you're talking to a plumber. There is a plumber's meanings being applied to the words you're speaking, such as fixture. If you're talking to a carpenter, it's a different meaning. You're talking to a judge, it's a different meaning. So it's just words like that, understanding that depending on the company you're keeping, the phrase has a different meaning, a different connotation. So, and fixture's a great word to explain that.
What were you going to say, Mark?
Yeah, a fixture could be a match as well, a football match.
Exactly. So it's if you're talking to a sports announcer. So it's a different thing depending on the group you're talking to. So it's a great way to explain it to people. If you can use words like that and say, well, what would this word mean if you're talking to a plumber? What would it mean if you're talking to a carpenter? What would it mean if you're talking to a sports association? So yeah, it's just a way of explaining it.
Yeah, it's the same like I've had a terrific day. Well, what terrified you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The word fantastic.
Yeah, it's a fantasy.
What does that mean? Yeah, it's a fantasy. It's not real.
Yeah. And the word jurisdiction, juris is law and diction is speech. So somebody's got...
all the words they tell, even with the surface meanings of the other words they tell us. I was talking to someone the other day. I mean, all the rubbish that they tell us in books, it's all lies. What do they call them? Libraries. Because they're full of lies. And it's like when in World War One and World War Two, we had the Axis and the Allies. The Allies, all lies. They tell us what they're doing.
Yeah, but you're pulling our leg now.
All right, just two more questions real quick. Tell me your immediate reaction to hearing the word reset.
Reset. Repopulation, depopulation event, starting the world again, taking things back to square one and starting again, which is what I think they've done. And I think that they do every 200 to 400 years, maybe longer, but possibly every 200 to 400 years. I think there's some sort of a population reset. Now, even when looking at the mud flood, there's questions as whether it happened in the 1600s or whether it happened in the 1800s. Perhaps it happened in both. There's all sorts of talk about other types of resets that possibly happen once every 12,000 years through to just earth changes that happen as well. So all sorts of possibilities of it, but that's what I think of when I hear the word reset. I think of cataclysm, depopulation, and beginning the world anew. And
that's either natural or contrived?
Natural or contrived. Whether they have the technology to do it, I mean, that's another question. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to say, yes, it's what they do. They have these super weapons and and there's all this stuff hidden in underground bases and aliens or whatever. I'm not going to say any of that because I don't know. I don't know whether it's a natural event or whether it's a technologically driven event. The possibility for either is quite open. People may say, oh, it's not possible that it was technology, you're just a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but, I'm just not going to discount it because, like I said, belief is the enemy of knowledge. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to say it's actually happening, but I'm not going to rule it out. I mean, it could be natural. It could be any number of things that could cause this type of event to happen. You can even start looking at some of the old stuff that was written by Churchwood and Hapgood about crustal displacement and oceans relocating and all sorts of possibilities. I mean, the sky's the limit. Once we start talking about this, we can go through all different models for the Earth and all different possibilities of how things could happen. And at the end of the day, we'll come out still not knowing what happened. So, it just would appear that some type of event did happen recently and that they are cyclic events. And if you look at the ruins around the world and these civilizations got wiped out pretty quickly. And even the mammoths they found up north with the still fresh daisies in their mouths. Some of them would even bleed when they cut them through the ice. So they were snap frozen. There was a very, very quick event that happened, and these appear to be cyclic. And I would suggest that the powers that believe they be possibly even have a pretty good handle on when they happen and know when they happen. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's what the underground bases are for. I mean, and even these underground bases that exist, I mean, I think these have been there for a long time. I think history is very different to what we've been told. I think the technology we're using now has existed for a long time. They just roll it out as they need it and let us see the rise of technology. But I have a feeling that it's all pretty contrived and that it's a regular cyclic event that happens. Probably went right off on topic there, but anyway.
No, that's right. Plato's cave is an allegory. I used to think that it was a metaphysical and epistemological philosophy, but now I'm more of the mind that it's a story about a whistleblower. A whistleblower's letter to the editor, so to speak. What are your thoughts on that?
Pretty much it is about a whistleblower, but it's also a very great indication of the world. I mean, people will judge reality by the information that they've got, and once they've formed their belief and their opinion of that reality, then they will be violent against anyone who tries to interfere with that belief, which is why belief is such an enemy of knowledge. It's a great example of that. But yeah, it's very much about a whistleblower, for sure.
All right, I think I know the answer to this, but what are some upcoming events or engagements that you have? If our listeners out there would have an opportunity to go where you're going and see where you're going to be.
Well, I've got two events coming up in Australia. I've got one in Coffs Harbour on the 17th of January called Illuminate, which is, I know the conspiracy theorists will love that name. But that's what they called it, so it's all good. But I'm speaking there on the 17th of January, and I'm speaking in Byron Bay in Australia on the 18th of January. So that's 2 Australian gigs. And then the only tour that I've got booked for 2019 overseas is in Acapulco in February. I've purposefully not booked any touring dates at all for 2019 because I really want to spend the year at home. So I'm just going to go over to Mexico and do that. And that is February 14th to 17th, I think, at an Acapulco. That's going to be a great gig. I mean, it's going to be excellent. There's a lot of people speaking there. It's like 3 or 4 days. We've got the whole Princess Palace Hotel. It's going to be really good. So looking forward to that one. And then I'll probably go to LA for a couple of weeks and catch up with some people. Then I've got to go down to Peru. I've got a bunch of stuff still there in the jungle that I want to get, and some people I want to see there as well. And then I'll be home for the rest of the year working on the film. So that's the plan. No touring for next year, just in Acapulco.
All right, and you said work on the film. What does that mean?
Well, a couple of films I've been working on. And I had a massive data loss a couple of weeks ago. I got badly hacked, and I've got these drives here, hard drives, I'm hopefully going to be able to regain data from. But yeah, I have two feature films that I'm working on. I've been working on for the last couple of years, so I want to put some work into them for the next year. I mean, I haven't released a feature film since about 2012. It's been about 6 years, so I really would like to get one out. And
I'm sorry, where can we look at those, or where can we access those feature films that you've worked on?
You'll find them on my website, thecrowhouse.com. If you scroll down the whole homepage, you'll see a section called Sights and Sounds, and you'll see 6 films I've done there, 3 full-length ones and 2 short ones, or 3 short ones. So yeah, you'll see it all there on the website, on thecrowhouse.com. Everything that I do is on thecrowhouse.com. It's a free website. There's no subscriber section. There's nothing to buy. There's nothing to sign up to. There's no ads, no advertising, nothing like that. There's over almost 2,000 pages on that website now, so it's a huge website. A lot of archives, a lot of stuff, a lot of information to share. So yeah, go check it out and share it with everybody you can. And just use the information and share the information around. There's a lot of valuable stuff on there.
All right, and now the pièce de résistance. What is something about Max Igan that no one else knows? That's
a good question. I've done so many interviews. I've probably told just about everything that everybody needs to know. I don't think there's anything that I haven't covered. I was homeless when I was a child. I lived in a storm drain. I mean, I'm a living proof that you can make it and be nobody and make a difference in the world. Maybe that's something people don't know. But when I was a homeless child, I was a street kid when I was a kid, and I've managed to make a difference by being who I am and never stop being who you are. I don't really know anything I can tell you that I haven't already told people. I don't really have any secrets. I don't have a secret life or anything. I find that a very, very difficult question to answer, actually, brother.
No,
I've always been pretty open about myself.
Yeah.
I mean, just I'm a nobody. Maybe that's something that will help people to understand that you don't have to be somebody to make a difference. All you got to do is be prepared to speak. And don't ever judge yourself badly, because you can make it in the world by being who you are. If you throw yourself to the wind, you can ride it.
How's your health, Max? Are you in good
How's
health?
my health? Look, it could be better. I'm trying to work on that a little bit. That's why I want to have some time off. Too much travelling. Flighting should come with a health warning.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I want to have some time off. I've got some fabulous books here that were actually sent to me by a listener, by the Medical Medium. He sent me the entire book collection of a guy called Anthony William. And I'm going to read these books and I'm going to get myself healthy again. I've been doing some Cambo and a few things as well, so I'm working on it. I'm actually a lot better than what I was 6 months ago when I got home, which is why I pulled the travelling short and just decided to go home, because my health was just suffering too badly. But I'm actually bounced back pretty well in the last 6 months.
Good to hear. Tell me, your YouTube videos, you start off with a quote every time. Where'd you get these quotes from? Do you have a store of them, or You just find
look, I just search for them. Sometimes I'll just go searching for quotes. Sometimes I'll get them out of books I've read. But just when I see something that I like, I gee, that was a good line, I'll just write it down. I'll just keep it. So I have a bit of a storage of them there. I've got a bit of a list here now I can pull quotes from for the show. But I just thought it was a good way to start the show. I mean, I thought I could do it back in the beginning.
Yeah, it works very well.
It also gives me something to focus on for the show, because when I go in and do the show, I don't have anything planned. Very rarely, man, but probably 10 shows in the last 10 years that I've done, I've actually gone in there with notes and I've actually had a plan of what I want to say. Most of the time I'm just speaking off the top of my head. So the opening quote also gives me something to ground myself into to continue on and start the show.
Have you ever used the same quote twice?
I think I have. A listener pointed out that I've used that quote before. But I'm not aware of it. I've done a lot of shows. So.
Yeah, your shows are very good. And the opening quote does set the scene for the rest of the show. It's very good, good technique.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you saying so.